This is the first episode of what I'm calling Viva la Renegade. And it's my chance to sit down and talk to people who I feel are renegades, living their lives like renegades. And I think you're a great first guest. So with me is Tim Kerner Jr., the mayor of Lafitte, running for Jefferson Parish Council, District 1. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for doing this last minute. We boys from way back, man, this is crazy. Like we pulled this together because I thought it was really cool. I wanted to give you a chance to kind of let people get to know you a little better. The election's tomorrow. I think it's very smart. A lot of people we saw today have an opinion based on very little information.
Yeah.
So, I think it's great what you're doing. I think I support it. I'm here for you. I think it's I'm excited to see, what we can do.
Yeah, and look, the main thing is people just need to get out and vote. I think it was last time I checked, it was somewhere around like 4% of people under 35 voted.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, and I'm telling you, people come out for presidential elections, and in many cases, these local elections, especially District 1, will affect your life more. It affects your parks. If you live on the coast, it affects whether your house might wash away one day. It couldn't be more important. And so I just stress to people to just get out there and vote.
Yeah.
Make a difference.
Yeah, and I think that this is like that. Get involved locally. Think globally, act locally. I think is a phrase I've heard said. And it really is important, and that's why we're sitting here. That's why I'm sitting here with you, because I do feel like what impact can I do on this community? What, not just our community of Lafitte. So I've told as many people as would listen from my personal experience with you. It's like, look, I grew up with this dude. Not only did I grow up with this guy, right? But we both we bonded over, if you remember, we bonded over falling into a very similar circumstance in a very similar time where we both filled our father's shoes.
Both had big shoes.
Right? And then immediately, you as mayor of this community, and after my father's passing, of taking over a family business, a huge family dynasty, right?
Yeah.
And then all these hardships that come, mainly for both of us, Hurricane Ida, the largest devastating storm in our community's history. So we were tested, and if you remember, we also, you kind of put me on to Stoicism and Marcus Aurelius and these things of just the concepts of, and especially right now, and I'm sure this has got to be present in your mind, like, in this position of potential power, and everyone has an opinion of what they think you are, who you are, what you should be and shouldn't be, and all from the sidelines, right? But to not let all these things affect your internal world, like you can only rule your internal world. I think, so I respect you in that sense, man, because I've seen what you were able to accomplish in this community. And, we've seen some disparaging things about our community, and that's so not the case. If you look at this whole town supports you. So I think what I want people to know out there, and I think all of us do, is like, hey, this community, the community in question, as the example community, loves you.
Who knows it better than them, right?
Yes. We love you because, the proof's in the pudding.
Yeah. I think in this election, I think with my opponent really and their whole team, it's a whole establishment machine. I think they knew they couldn't win over Lafitte, Barataria, and Crown Point. Mm-hmm. So instead of trying to win them over, they just wanted to convince the people that may not have visited the community, doesn't know people in the community, that we're doing horrible. So that's kind of the direction they went in, and it couldn't be further from the truth. And just, man, this whole election has just been lie after lie. Like us not having a restaurant, we have multiple. And then not only that, but the restaurants we lost during Hurricane Ida, we lost in Lower Lafitte. That's unincorporated Jefferson Parish.
Right.
It's actually what they were responsible for. And now they found home.
That's
in the
important
town.
to look that up. Like, check these facts, because, man, like, if you are basing your opinions on these small things, like what he's saying, like, there's such subterfuge. There's such a veil of like a little seed of some kind of truth that gets twisted and bent. But yeah, that's your boy's responsibility. And to make you look like you're failing at a job that you need to rely on them for is quite convenient.
Well, it's similar with the school, right? The school wasn't done yet. I don't know if it was God or the universe. They hit me with the school. 3 days later, the FEMA announced that the $68 million school was coming.
That's great.
But what makes it so terrible, how they hit me with that school is Jefferson Parish is going through the same thing with Rosestone Gym. So
really?
they are going through the same FEMA hurdles. So look, it's smoke and mirrors, and I think that's how the machines really stayed in power for so long. And I think their strategy is they take the opponent's strength and their weaknesses and they flip them immediately.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, it's I'm the guy that went 3 days without sleeping, sandbagging throughout the night. Everyone knows that. But now, hey, he's the boots on the ground guy, and I'm the guy who's a Nepo baby, right?
Nepo baby.
That was given the job,
Mm-hmm.
So it's constantly, if everybody knows, they call them the Gretna mob, the people we're running against, because they do a lot of backdoor things, and people know it. Look, they all have $1 million houses. The guy I'm running against has 17 properties, homes that he owns. So what they do is they say, well, we're wealthy. Everybody knows that. So we're going to make that guy look corrupt to water things down.
Yeah.
And you have people that never met me, unfortunately, that buy into it.
Yeah.
So it's a challenge. It's a battle every day within myself. But like you said, time and time again, this area, I come from fighters with my father, my grandfather, but this area makes you tough. It makes you resilient. And I think they underestimate not just my resolve, but this community's resolve. And that's why the community's being so vocal, because they know better than what the stuff that's going out there.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And I think that's what it takes. And I just don't, that's why I had to get vocal about it too. And, look, as a business owner, 100% transparency. It's a difficult thing to, choose sides, whatever. But I do just feel that this is important. Again, it was like this past presidential election seems so, different. And this one for me, it's like you watch the news, the world news, we're inundated with all this stuff that we really can't do anything to change. And in this situation, it's like, man, I know I can get behind this dude. And I know that not only you've shown that you're willing to fight for this small community. And a lot of people were asking, well, is he going to fight for District 1? Well, of course.
Well, and a good example of that is, look, I'm mayor of Lafitte. If they would have done better by the community, and frankly, if the West Bank were all connected, if they would have done better by the West Bank, I'd have been happy as mayor. I had no intention to run. I felt like I had to. I felt like I had to for the future of the community I love so much. And but people don't realize is I fought for Lower Lafitte, Barataria, and Crown Point as much as the town. I did that as mayor of Lafitte.
Yeah.
So the argument to say that when I become a District 1 council or somewhere else, I'm only going to care about Lafitte, it's so silly because, that's all he cares about Lafitte. Well, yeah, because I've been mayor of Lafitte for 5 years.
Well, look, and yeah, I mean, this is your home. But it again, like in the character building that came out of just growing up here. But again, back to being thrust into that position, and things did not go smoothly. And I'm always thankful for that experience, and I'm sure you probably feel the same way. The difficulty is where you then summon that strength, and smooth seas don't make skilled sailors, they say, right? And it's like we've had nothing but tumultuous seas, right?
As mayor, I had a crash course and disasters.
And that's what builds the character, and I know, and I'm a citizen of unincorporated. I'm on the Barataria side, but if I bug you about anything, you're present, you're available. Again, man, that's like why I'm here, why we're here talking is I want people to know that, like from a sincere, authentic perspective, I've had first-hand experience with you in this community. All the people in this community have. What do we have to lose? You know what I mean?
Yeah, look, the same people's been in charge for, the same group 80 years, the same small group of people about 30, 50 years. Mm-hmm. They don't like elections. That's why whenever somebody comes out and maybe it inspires hope that we can be better, they try to destroy it.
Boy, it's getting ugly, man.
And it's just crazy. They say that, don't believe this guy. He's a guy whose dad was mayor, grandfather was mayor, yet their chief of police over there, his dad was mayor, his grandfather
God
was
forbid.
Mayor. So it just, look, it's about merit. It's about who's best. And to your point, 50 years, they've been in charge of the West Bank. You even look at the past 20 years. Now, look, granted, we had a bad economy, we had high insurance rates, we had a lot of things that hindered them. So it's not all their fault.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at east of us at Bay St. Louis, they have the same high insurance, they have the same bad economy, and they're booming.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you look at places like Brooklyn, who at one time, if you went to Manhattan and visited Manhattan, you went to Brooklyn, you had to be worried about your life.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you go to Manhattan and you don't visit Brooklyn, you're making a mistake.
Right.
You know, the script has been written on how to turn things around. But I think the bottom line, and if I'm just going to be completely frank and as general as possible, is that the enemy of progress is being too comfortable. And when you are in power for 30, 40 years and good people are scared to run against you because of how they're treating me,
Mm-hmm.
that they get too comfortable.
Right.
You know, as mayor and what I want to do at District 1 Council, like, I think my greatest strength is I do have a big heart. You know, that's why I'm able to fight 3 days without sleeping. That's why when I'm totally exhausted, even during this race, that's why when they're trying to destroy me around every corner,
Mm-hmm.
and it's difficult. No doubt, it's one of the hardest things. I hate to even say that because people go to war and things like that. But
Of course.
it's one of the hardest.
But this
things.
is your reality.
Yeah,
you know?
and it's extremely difficult. But I care. I genuinely care so much. I love this area so much, and just as much as that, I see the potential. You know, I see the West Bank as this gritty, the most culturally rich place in the state of Louisiana, if not the country. I just see so many strengths, and I just know we could do better. I know it with every fiber in my being, and I just want an opportunity to prove it. But it is difficult to run against these guys.
Oh, man. Yeah, and I commend you for it, dude. And I think that alone is a testament to, you know, why I support what you're doing, and to say, like, you are making a conscious choice to put yourself under such scrutiny and to put your personal life and your stress levels, I'm sure. And it's not, you know, like, to what end? It's not, and like I said with the mayor, like, it's a thankless position. And it's not an easy path to take.
Yeah, and just the mayor deal, you know, they hit on that, and like you said, I mean, you said it so perfectly. This is not no luxurious job. You know, it's not like a lot of other way you picture elected officials, which many, you're right, in most cases, most elected officials are eating lobsters and steaks, right?
Mm-hmm.
But down here, you're fighting every day for existence. You know, Ida hit 3 years ago. You know, just as anyone else, I'm hoping other people come down and just talk to people. People are still struggling every day.
Oh, big time.
Every single day with this weight on your shoulders. And my dad had to do the same thing when he was mayor. So, look, I'll look at it as, you know, my dad is an extremely intelligent, capable man, tough, well-respected. So is my grandfather. You know, I truly believe that if they would have chosen a private field, they would have made a lot of money in their lives. But they love this area and love these people so much. They devoted their lives to it. And my dad went through, 19 storms? Rita, Gustav, Katrina, Ike. I mean, you name it, Isaac. And this job was anything but easy. You know, there was times when my dad actually, he couldn't even lift up the remote because his white blood cell count got so high. He went to the doctor to get blood work, and he had to go to an event, and the doctor got the blood work, came back and said, "You're not going anywhere." Jeez. He's like, "Your levels are like 12 times as high as what they were." And that was because of the stress of the storm. Now, luckily, the next day, the FEMA approved some funds and things that came through, and his health immediately came back.
Right.
But people don't see that side of it, you know, that they don't see the side, you know, my time as mayor, my wife was 6 months pregnant. She had to evacuate by herself with her 2 dogs and drive by herself at night while her husband was here and hadn't talked to him for a week after because the phone lines were out.
Right.
And look, my point is, look, there's plenty of harder jobs out there. But how they're painting this position is just so inaccurate. It couldn't be further from the truth. Mm-hmm. And look, I'm going to take Lafitte in order to move it forward. In order to not lose it, you have to give everything in your body. Mm-hmm. You know, everybody looks to you to say, you know, are you going to solve this problem? Are you fighting for this problem? They held me to a high standard. You know, if I didn't do the job well, the people at Lafitte, Barrett, Crown Point, they wouldn't be supporting me. They're smart people. But I want to take that same tenacity and that same, I will sleep in the office if I have to do a good job to the District 1 spot. You know, for
man,
all the West Bank.
It's noted. It's noticed. It's seen. And that's the point, you know, and to that point of, oh, you're third generation. Is that correct? Your grandfather was mayor as well, so that's before my time, I know. But this community supports this family for that reason. Your dad, your grandfather were the instrumental figures in building this community, turning it into what it is. So there's an election. If this wasn't working, he wouldn't be here, you know? So that's the thing people don't understand.
It's got 96% of vote. It's a Jefferson Parish record when I ran.
Right.
And the difference is, and my dad always said that, it sounds so cliche, but it's something that when he said it, it's the fact. It's the truth. At least it's my truth. You know, that group that's been in power and on the West Bank, they rule by fear. And we serve with love, and that's the difference. And that's why my dad won by 94%. That's why I won by 96%. And that's why they have a built-in anti, because if you either do what they say and you get treated good, or you get the wrath of them.
Yeah.
They'll pull your code, they'll pull your business license, they'll do a bunch of things. So, and I truly believe the West Bank sees it now, and they're ready for change. I mean, you look at Terrytown. Terrytown used to be one of the best communities to live in, certainly in this area, but one of the best communities in the state. Now it's 40% rentals, 40% rentals. And many of that's LNG plant. Can you imagine when they all leave, when LNG plants finish being built and they all leave, what is that going to do to the West Bank
You
market?
mentioned that, and that's the point that I never even thought of. You know, I've got quite a few buddies and relatives that work down there, and the construction, the sheer mass of that project, it's insane. But I didn't think about the influx of rentals and what would happen when that.
Well, the rentals were there, right? The rentals were there because we're seeing a result of the disproportionate allocation of tax dollars. You know, in the last 13 years, they've had around $50 million of discretionary money. Now, this is not money, drainage, water. This is money that the District 1 councilman, and it's accounted for two councilmen, that they could spend at their discretion. They call it improvement funds, improve the communities. So out of that $50 million in the last 13 years, Terrytown's gotten 3%. The last 13 years, in the last 3 years, they've gotten 2%. So we're seeing, if you walk through, because I've been door knocking, I've walked to almost every street in this district.
Oh, really?
You see roads that are just in terrible condition. You see sidewalks that are totally in disrepair. But you see little patches of fixing, and it really does look like 2 to 3%. You know, it does. It truly does. And the people in Terrytown's listening to this, they are saying he's right, because it is.
Yeah.
It's true.
And that's the thing. I think we should touch on that more, man. I think, you know, you're mentioning these other parts because everyone in this community knows you. They know we're going to get your support just as much as you have ours. But this is for those people who don't know you, you know, and these numbers, they have an impact.
And you know, and that's kind of been the message of the campaign, or at least their campaign. They say, you know, this Kerner guy, he's bringing division, right? He's bringing division. He's not a uniter.
I haven't seen that one bit.
It's been happening. It's been seen. They even created West Bank United, and I think some of the people that created it did it in good faith. But what I really want people to see is the truth, and the numbers don't lie. The establishment, the people that's been in power has sown division with their actions, right? When 3%, when Terrytown makes up 23% of the population in District 1 and they get 3%, that's a problem. When Marrero makes up 20% of District 1's population and they get 3%, that is a problem, or 2%. And the same with Harvey. Harvey makes up close to 13. I think it's like 12.9 or 12.5. Rounded up to 13% of the population. The last 3 years, they got 0.1%. You drive through Woodland West and Woodland West Park, you could see it. Right. The disproportionate, I think, you know, what we're seeing in District 1 is, at some point or another, you know, sometime in the last 15 years, they took the position that we want it all, and if you don't like it, go to hell. And it's like they try to say, you know, it's a trickle down effect. Everything we're spending in this one neighborhood is good for all the West Bank because it's on the West Bank, but it's just not true. Right. All that money going to that one small part of Gretna, because a lot of Gretna is being left out, is not benefiting all of the West Bank. What it's doing, it's benefiting that one small community.
And it's a beautiful little spot. I think it is a very important part of our, and especially, you know, I tend to not go across the river as much because I do enjoy that little part of that community. Yeah. But at the same time, that's not right. Now, are there protocols in place with this discretionary funding to say, well, hey, as a population makes up a certain percentage, they should be allocated a certain.
There's no community involvement. It's completely up in one man, which is a problem in itself. The fact
is there a way to
they have
fix
that much pet project money per district. Yeah, well, first off, I don't think. Look, they just raised everyone's taxes on their water bills to fix the aging water infrastructure. Which, look, I get it. We needed to do it.
Sure.
But it's hard to justify going to the taxpayers during a bad economy, high insurance rates, when you have that much discretionary money.
Right.
50 million over the last 13 years. So it's look, it's what we're seeing right now is just too many people left out. And again, like you said, I love downtown Gretna. It's a gym. Look, if they get more than their population, I'm okay with that, because they are they put us on the map, right?
Sure.
They've done a good job there, no doubt about it.
They're a hub.
But what they need to realize is everyone loves their community, and everyone deserves to be treated similarly and get their tax dollars spent in their communities. And quite frankly, it's better for Gretna. You know, what's going to happen if the rest of the West Bank keeps on a decline,
right?
And they keep putting money in just downtown Gretna? You know, that it's going to eventually increase crime. It's going to increase blight, and eventually that's going to start carrying over to Gretna. And at the end of the day, if you want more businesses and you want more restaurants, you want more family-oriented things, you need the communities around it. You need young people moving into those communities to go eat at those restaurants, go shop at those stores. So a stronger surrounding West Bank is better for Gretna.
Yeah,
certainly. You know, what I envision for Gretna is, instead of just throwing all our tax dollars in there for pet projects, let's improve the surrounding communities, and then let's go out there and recruit private businesses and private investment to come down. Because guess what? You're adding to the consumers by doing that. And right now with insurance prices and the economy, you know, it's hard to go move in downtown Gretna, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Because the property value is so high. But guess what? You beautify the park in Woodland West. You put a little money in there. You give an incentive, maybe expanding the first-time home buyers program. You get some young families there. Same in Terrytown. Right. Same in Marrero. And now you have something, right?
Yeah, and that's the reality, man. And as a young family, I'm happy to set my roots where I'm at. But there's you have to really work for optimism sometimes, I find, and it's like, man, the grass might be greener somewhere else, but I don't want to abandon this place. And not just Lafitte, but the district as a whole.
And you said it all there. I think that's what this race came down to. And if we showed anything in Lafitte, is that we brought hope to a community that lost all hope.
Right.
And the West Bank, again, the West Bank is not inspired right now. And that's why, look, I love Jennifer Van Franken. I love that she's fighting for fighting a good fight and making sure that she doesn't do what the machine tells her to, and they hate her for it. So, God, I'm happy she's in there, because she's the one that's going to stop a lot of this corruption. But as far as just generally speaking, the reason why we can't win a West Bank seat is because the West Bank didn't come out. It's because you see that there's a disproportionate amount of funding.
Right.
People don't feel inspired. They don't feel that things are happening in their community. And when that happens, you see very low turnouts, what we're seeing. And that's a challenge that I'm up against this election, because I'm promising them better, but they're saying, hey, we heard that before.
Right. And that's the thing, man. And I feel like, you're offering a fresh perspective, a young perspective, which is necessary. And the baby term is like, you're 35? I'm
34.
34? Come on, man. And
what's crazy is,
Jesus was 33, right?
I can go make a lot more money not being in office, right? I'm a former prosecutor. I'm an attorney. I'm a realtor. I don't have any time to do any of that because I'm fighting so hard because I believe in what I'm doing. What I want to do in my life is help people. That's what I chose to do in my life, and I believe in it. And it makes me, it makes me work long hours because I love doing it. Now, the guy I'm running against, he's been in politics for 30 years. I think at one point he had like a little catering business. He doesn't have an identity outside of politics. And,
he's hanging on to it.
And that's another way where they're turning my strength into their weakness. Well, this guy, he's a child. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's incapable.
Yeah.
His dad did it for him. And you look at our resumes, I clerked for a Supreme Court justice. I worked in D.C. I worked in parish president's office. If you look at our resumes, it's, if somebody was hiring for a job, I would beat them.
Right.
and almost 90% of the time.
And that's important, man. Back, pull the wool from over these people's eyes, and I think that's the district as a whole Now, I'm sure, like a lot of people, so we got Grand Isle.
So from north to south,
okay.
it's Gretna, it's Terrytown, it's Lower Harvey, you have the west side of Stonebridge, Woodland West, and then it jumps over all the way to Lower Marrero, Barrett Boulevard, from Crestwood south, which makes up Bentry and Hillcrest and Acadiana Trace, Oak Cove. Then it goes to Lafitte, Barrett, Crown Point, all the way down to Grand Isle. And you look at that district and you look around, you see the position it's in. And it breaks your heart because what other district has that much cultural enrichment, right? It just that much cultural diversity. Right. It has so many strengths, and we should be and it sounds cliche, but we should be the shining star, and that's how I see it. So and you look at places like Grand Isle. Just to go back to this portion of funding, one of the reasons why I'm in this race, TJ, is $63 million. We were on our backs, right? $63 million. Came from Hurricane Ida for CBDG money. That's Community Development Block Grant.
All right.
So if Lafitte, Barrett, Crown Point was a port of Plaquemines and Grand Isle was a port of Lafourche, they wouldn't have got much of anything, if any of that money. You know how much Lower Lafitte, Crown Point got? Not $1. You know how much Grand Isle got? Not $1. The two most devastated communities. They gave Barataria, I think it was $2.7 million after we fought like hell for it. They wanted to kill both projects. You can't even do the project because they're only funded one. It's a pump and drainage. You need one to have the other. And they intentionally underfunded the project so you couldn't do it. And one of the guys that's in charge of that project that was working with Marion Edwards at the time actually told somebody that worked in there, a director. And this director told me, they said, well, election have consequences. She's like, I'm going to fight you on this. But they actually hurt these people who were devastated by hurricanes because of an election. But I don't know what's Grand Isle, what's the excuse for Grand Isle, because Grand Isle didn't run against anyone.
Right.
But we've seen things. I mean, just in Lafitte, they tried to take the seafood festival that's been here since before I was alive, before you was alive, tried to move it outside of Lafitte. They killed projects. They committed to projects that we couldn't have done without their commitments. And then when the project was finished, they refused to pay their share, trying to hurt the economy. Yeah. And that's what's so funny. Even the Wetlands Educational Center that they all tried to destroy, right? They are still running on that, the economy is bad for the town's economy bad. They had to sell their police course. They don't know that we solved that problem. We have a $900,000 end of year surplus. We have $38 million assets. We owe no money. Good. So they're running on what they tried to do to us. And they're totally just saying, I don't even know if they know we're out of it yet. I think they know now, and they're saying, you know what, we've lied enough. The damage is done. Yeah. Let's just keep lying. But that just goes to show you how crooked these guys are. And it's even this court case. This guy runs an ad, that Lee Zurich ad. He runs an ad on TV. And I didn't have $100,000, despite what Lee Zurich said. I didn't have $100,000 to fight Fox 8. That's why they went after me. That's why they didn't go after Jennifer and Scott, even though they were anti-establishment. I'm the easy target. Right. I don't have any money. So I felt a little helpless there. Well, now Ricky did it himself this time, and I made good connections, and I was able to do it at a cheaper rate and just go after him on this bait and have the same kind of case as they had on Fox 8. As it would have been in Fox 8. The same facts, arguing the same thing. And I was confident that I would get that ad removed because I know and I have the evidence to back it up. And I know it's false, and they know it's false. All the political insiders know it's false. And I went to court, filed, 7 judges recused themselves. Yeah. Now, I know a few of those judges are really good people, and I love them. But I don't think most of those judges recused themselves because they were worried about upsetting Tim Kerner. They did it because they were worried about upsetting the political mob, how vicious and vindictive they are. So 7 judges recused themselves once they reviewed it because they said, well, I'm not ruling against them. I might want to be appellate judge one day. And finally, one judge answered the call, Judge Nancy Miller. And we could not find Ricky Templey for a subpoena. We went to his headquarters, to multiple houses. His headquarters closed that day for the first time all campaign. So I was told that he went to Gulf Shores to hide out, and the political establishment was laughing about that. He's going to get a suntan. He went to Gulf Shores, Alabama, a few days before early voting to avoid being heard in court. And that ad is still running on TV, and the news is letting him get away with it right now.
And that's the type of stuff that should make anyone watching this question what you've been told, what you believe to be true. Don't just idly, passively absorb this, regurgitate it. Do your homework, man. Research. This is it's heavy stuff. It's deep. I mean, I commend you for standing up on this hill, man, and taking all the mud being flung at you. It doesn't seem easy at all. I think I really do feel that we will be better off with someone like you, leading the charge. And I mean what I say. Like, I do think we need that fighter in the arena. Like, I know, I can attest. I've watched you get out there tomorrow. Vote. It's gonna be rainy. You need ponchos.
Please
get a trash bag. Whatever you need, just go vote. Like, what was the voting turnout you're saying? Like,
it was 20-something%, but the under 35s are just not voting at all. Under
not
40s.
Great numbers. And
it's 65 and older is controlling 68% election. So also call your mom, call your grandma, call your great grandma, and let them know, hey, this election is important for my future. In order to, I just want to let anybody watching know, in order to go against all this power. I mean, they're going to spend well over $500,000 trying to be a 34-year-old guy and trying to destroy me along the way. I knew that's what they were going to do. Yeah. They did it from day one. The only way you fight so hard to overcome that is if you truly believe in something. And I believe in what I'm doing. I know with every fiber of my body I could be a great councilman. I just want to prove that we could be better on the West Bank. That I'm tired of excuses. I'm tired of elected officials coming to us and saying, "Look what we did," or "This ribbon cutting." Because every day it's like them telling you, don't believe your lying eyes. We know things aren't getting better. We don't have the same restaurants we used to have. We don't have new businesses open up. We don't have jobs. So I just ask anyone out there, please give someone else a chance, because if we continue at this trajectory in 10, 15, 20 years, where do you think we're going to end up? What is the West Bank going to look if we continue, if we base it off the last 15 years and continue going that direction? Where is the West Bank going to be in 15 years? Give someone else a chance for the first time in 50 years in this district. And I'm willing to bet my life that you won't regret doing it. So thank you so much.
Strong words, man. I believe in you, dude. I'm glad we did this. Get out there and vote tomorrow. I know life's busy. Everybody's busy. But this is important. This is local. This is you. This is our future. This is our community, District 1, your children's future. I think depends on having someone like Timmy. Proud of you, man. I wish you all the best.
Yeah, thank you. Look, we're going to keep fighting.